A beautiful woman with a stunning figure invites me to dinner, but when she turns around, her face is something beyond description. It turns out this is a world where every living thing is racing to evolve. Frogs, in their drive to prey on wasp swarms, have evolved thick, rubbery skin and tongues longer and more powerful than any chameleons to become more efficient hunters. The birds of the forest have grown two completely different heads, one on top, one on the bottom. And me, I reincarnated as a puddle of slime mold. I sit at the very bottom of the food chain, but I am not a picky eater. Fallen logs, roadside weeds, anything can be a meal. Right now, I've set my sights on a strange mushroom not far away. A human would get poisoned eating that, but as a slime mold, my instincts say it's a delicacy. Fun slime mold fact: though slime molds move slowly, scientists discovered through maze experiments that no matter how complex the maze, a slime mold always finds the fastest path to its destination. So I quickly find the fastest route. Just a little on the slow side, that's all. But I get there eventually, right beside that little mushroom. I let out a quiet "heh heh heh" and prepare to dig in. After all that online romance, my sweet little mushroom, we finally meet in person. The toxic mushroom speaks in a honeyed voice. "So it's you." I smile with confidence. That's right, it's me. What I didn't expect, the toxic mushroom pulls the ultimate catfish move. My HP plummets as poison floods my body. To save my life, I don't hesitate. I trigger Severance Survival. My max HP drops from 35 down to 17, but decompose still kicks in and does its job. I'll let you off for now. Once this slime regroups and recovers, we're finishing this. With that, I start decomposing nearby wood to restore my HP. 15 minutes pass. This slime is back at full health. Max HP restored to 35. The strategy: take a bite, pull back before the poison takes hold, decompose some dead wood to recover, then repeat. Round after round. I call this the mushroom farming plan. Finally, on the 8th assault, I bring the toxic mushroom down for good, and as a reward, I unlock a brand new attribute, Poison Resistance Level 1. Looks like it can be leveled up. Still, I'm a little let down. I was expecting a huge EXP payout and a full level up. At least this place is damp. Mushrooms are everywhere. Leveling up is only a matter of time. After one solid hour of grinding, I've pushed Poison Resistance to level 2, and my overall level hits 5. The penalty: no EXP bonus from mushrooms for the next 20 to 4 hours. But I have no intention of letting these mushrooms go to waste. I pack them all as emergency supplies. They can double as weapons when needed. Same logic as crabs using sea anemones to drive off octopuses. Suddenly, the rapid beating of wings fills the air above me. A swarm of carnivorous wasps. I'm praying they don't notice me, when a massive tongue shoots up from the ground into the air and swallows a wasp in one gulp. That's an open declaration of war against the swarm, but the frog doesn't flinch, not even slightly. The wasps launch their counterattack, but no matter how hard they hit, they can't break through the frog's thick hide. In the end, the frog seizes its moment and gulps them all down. But just when I think it's over, a gaping maw comes diving at the frog at full speed. It's a bird, but one with two completely different heads. Suddenly, the monster bird's eyes snap directly onto me. Just as I accept my fate and stop fighting back, the creature lifts its head high, eyes full of contempt. Then it gives one flap of its nearly featherless wings, and the shockwave alone blasts 30 points off my HP. Then the monster bird vanishes without a trace. The moonlit forest is beautiful and still, broken only by the occasional chirp of insects, and I'm cowering in a pile of toxic mushrooms, shaking. After watching long enough, I've confirmed it. I am at the very bottom of this food chain. But being at the bottom has one advantage. The gap between us is so massive that I didn't even register as food on its menu. I check my status panel. The joy of gaining 4 levels in one night? Gone. I honestly have no idea how a slime mold like me is supposed to survive and rise up in a place like this. Exhausted, I can only hope that when I wake up, this is all just a dream. But then a drop of acid trickles down, and the searing burn jolts me awake in blinding pain. In the next moment, I unlock a new skill, Burst, by forcing all cytoplasm inside my body to surge in one direction at once, generating a powerful shockwave. Current cooldown: once every 5 minutes. I crash back to the ground and find the culprit, a snail. But this snail is nothing like any snail I remember. It comes equipped with an acid skill, capable of dissolving mushrooms, poison and all, to feed. I curse at it. You disgusting snail. Stealing my mushrooms without permission is one thing, but dripping your acid slime on my face and nearly burning it off? Absolutely unforgivable. The snail just responds to my outrage with 2 small squeaks. I figure it's playing the sympathy card. Nice try. But to my surprise, it starts trembling all over and lets out 2 more squeaks. Looking at it, I can't help but feel a pang of sympathy. We're both just fellow lost souls out here, scraping for something to eat. Maybe I'm being too harsh. I let it go. There are plenty of mushrooms to go around. Have some. Whatever. And just like that, the snail lowers its head and starts slurping again. Meanwhile, I drift into a little daydream that after today, the snail and I form a legendary team, leveling up together, evolving together, becoming the ultimate duo, and in the end, we go on one great adventure and defeat the Demon King through the power of our bond. That's right. In another world, companions are essential for survival and growth. Inspired, I slide over to the snail and send it a party invite. The snail tilts its head and gives me one look, then it lunges and bites. And in that moment, I finally understand the rules of this forest. In a world full of monsters, nobody does friendship. Nature has only one rule: eat or be eaten. The bad news is, we're both low-level monsters, but the snail is clearly faster and stronger than me. Once it realizes I'm edible and pose no real threat, it drops the mushrooms and starts chasing me instead. I dump my remaining skill points into Pulse and go all out to outrun it. 3 minutes pass. The snail seems to realize it can't catch me on speed alone, but I can't shake it off either. Suddenly its neck begins to writhe. It fires a stream of acid like a weapon. One direct hit, I lose 27 HP. It also reveals something. My consciousness automatically stays with the larger portion of my body. But now is not the time to think about that. The snail unleashes a shrieking squeak 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 in my direction. Then it dives straight in and starts feeding on my body. I use that moment to writhe with everything I have and pull away. But it has already consumed nearly half of me, and that taste has only made it hungrier. It has no intention of letting me go. Then a flash of inspiration, I wrap a tendril around a toxic mushroom and shove it straight into the jaws lunging at me, triggering burst. In an instant, the snail is hit with a lethal dose of poison. It struggles for a moment, then collapses right in front of me. I level up to 6 and gain 0.6 skill points. It worked, just like I figured. All those teeth, yet it still had to dissolve the mushroom in acid before eating, because it has 0 poison resistance. I can't help but burst out laughing. Whatever the case, this slime has defeated its very first monster since arriving in this world. Now the question is, what kind of surprise will decomposing a monster bring? The next second, I gag. Even as a slime mold, I gag. This is absolutely revolting. Salty, sour, and the texture is exactly like thick snot. But seeing the notification on my status panel, I grit my metaphorical teeth. This victory cost me dearly. I'm not wasting it. Thinking back on everything that happened, I know I need to get stronger fast. This world doesn't give me the luxury of being picky. For the next 10 minutes, fighting back waves of unbearable nausea, I fully decompose the snail. My level leaps to 7 and my status is restored to peak condition. I check the system panel, remaining skill points, 1.4. Available upgrades, decompose level 6, pulse level 3, poison resistance level 3, burst level 1. 3 seconds of thought and I work it out. Decompose means eating, pulse means running, poison resistance means taking hits, and burst also means running. And I realize I don't have a single offensive skill, but complaining won't change anything. This is who I am. I'm a slime mold. Besides, even if I had offensive skills, I'm still too weak to pick fights. That's the only comfort I can find right now. So I put the skill points into pulse. At least it makes running away a little faster. I test it out. 20 centimeters per second. That works out to 0.78 kilometers per hour. Still pathetically slow. A week later, I've been grinding in the shadows as hard as I can. Nothing dramatic, but my reserves are nearly empty and have only managed to gain 2 levels. I've fully figured out the mechanics of this slime mold body. It's time to find a new base. Before heading out, I decide to run one last supply sweep. By flattening and spreading myself into thin branching tendrils, I can scout multiple directions at the same time. The higher my HP, the more cytoplasm I have, and the wider my search range. Notification, 3 white mushrooms captured. Notification, 6 grass mushrooms captured. Once I get the hang of controlling my body, I can store items inside myself or decompose while I scout, greatly boosting my efficiency. Just as I push poison resistance to level 4, the system flashes a warning: target cannot be decomposed. Pain shoots through me. HP -9. One look at my dissolving tendril and I know exactly what I'm dealing with. The next second, another wave of acid. I was just feeling proud of my new speed. But this snail is no slouch either. Individual variation, I suppose. Too bad for it. I already know this species' weakness. Trading damage for damage. I take down this snail the same way. A toxic mushroom counter kill. And now comes the part I dread most. But the EXP from decomposing monsters is just too good to pass up. Just as I'm about to move on, rustling sounds drift from the grass ahead. I spot 2 antennae and assume it's another snail. It's not. It's a blade-foot centipede. It rears up, easily 4 or 5 times my height. I try to drive it off with a toxic mushroom. The mushroom is sliced clean in 2. Then it unleashes its signature move, 100-leg stranglehold. Guess I can't just take a bite out of everyone. But as a slime mold, I'm naturally immune to blade attacks. Armed with this knowledge, I pick my prey carefully. Too bad I can't reach the wasps flying overhead. They'd make a fine meal. Even so, by exploiting my immunity, I quickly level up to 13. All my skills see significant gains. But just as I'm daydreaming about snowballing my way up from here, and eventually reaching the top of the food chain, a pond comes into view. I think about exploring the water. After all, water is the source of life. There must be all kinds of resources in there. But the moment I dip my body in, I start expanding rapidly. Right, as something close to a single-celled organism, submerging in fresh water causes rapid swelling. It's called osmotic pressure. With that, I abandon the underwater exploration plan. Then suddenly, a crab surfaces from the pond. I look it over carefully, checking twice to be sure. Memories of crab meat from my past life come rushing back. After all those bugs, I finally get to treat myself properly. I send the crab a friendly greeting. It doesn't fall for it. Instead, it climbs onto a stone pillar in the center of the pond. Bubbles stream steadily from its mouth. I decide not to waste any more time here. There's always a way, like decomposing a toxic mushroom into liquid and pouring it straight into the pond. But the crab strikes first. Bubble water cannon. The water pressure is absolutely insane. One shot punches a hole clean through my body. -25 HP. Then it keeps firing, shot after shot. Lucky for me, there's a tree nearby. Without it, I'd be finished. I settle in to see which of us has more patience, when the crab suddenly leaps back into the water and charges straight for shore to hunt me down. And with 8 legs, it moves far faster than either me or the snail ever could. I immediately climb the tree. I need the height to put some distance between us. But halfway up, a massive spider monster blocks my path, and I don't back down. In my eyes, bugs are just food on legs, but the next second, the spider monster gives me a brutal lesson in humility. Feeling the top of my body get sliced clean off, I realize I am not immune to every blade attack. Spider monster level 16, skill, swordsmanship level 8, then a water cannon blast comes out of nowhere and shaves off another 17 HP. I glance behind me and my heart sinks. Spider monster in front, crab coming up behind. Today is definitely not my lucky day. But this isn't the first time I've been cornered. The next second, another water cannon comes flying. This time I use my body's flexibility to dodge, letting the shot hit the spider monster instead, one leg blown clean off. The spider monster glances at its wound, then charges straight at the crab without a moment's hesitation. It fires a spray of webbing to pin the crab in place, then goes in for the kill with spider slash. But the crab shell is far harder than expected. It tanks the full combo without a scratch. Now it's spider monster versus crab, and neither can finish the other. The crab's claws are massive and crushing, and its shell is nearly impenetrable. The spider monster can't break through at all. The spider monster, however, runs circles around the crab with its superior speed, and while it can't pierce the shell, it has incredibly sticky webbing. Just as the spider monster thinks it has the crab locked down, bubbles begin building rapidly in the crab's mouth, filling it completely in seconds. Then with a massive burst of force, the crab fires its water cannon in every direction at once. A total area attack. The spider monster is not so lucky. The blasts slice it into 3 pieces, and I, just barely luckier, narrowly escape death by the thinnest of margins. In the end, the crab has drained itself dry, but the webbing still has it bound tight. I watch the battlefield carefully and inch my way around to the crab's flank. It's truly exhausted. I can't help but taunt it. That's what you get for firing everywhere. Look at you now. But the problem remains. How do I finish it off? Going in through its mouth is just suicide. And if I use a toxic mushroom, it'll just clamp its mouth shut. But if I wait too long and it recovers, it'll be even harder to deal with. Then I notice a rock nearby, just as I try to pull it into my slime space. The system alerts me, insufficient space. My slime space size is tied to my HP, and that last fight drained at least half of it. I clear everything out of my slime space immediately. Even after storing it, the weight of the rock still slows me down. A few more minutes pass. I launch myself off the tree straight down, the crab watching in horror. It tries to struggle, but it has nothing left. Its water cannon is a shadow of what it once was. With a heavy thud, the rock crashes down. I take down the crab and emerge as the sole survivor of the brawl. Level jumps from 13 to 14. I gain 0.5 skill points. And this is the first time I've eaten something that actually tastes normal. Crab leg dipped in crab roe. One bite, absolutely incredible. Before this, everything was either stale cracker-flavored wood or snot-textured snail, or some other bizarrely flavored insect. After a frenzied feast, my status is finally fully restored. Now it's time to get to work. I start concentrating, pushing hard, and just as I near my limit, a stream of liquid squirts out from behind me. I was trying to copy the crab, force out internal fluid as a projectile attack, but without a mouth I can't control the opening, and the pressure is basically zero. Then something clicks. My burst skill. With burst to control the force and direction. This time I actually pull off a ranged shot, and burst evolves into cytoplasm blast. By instantly mobilizing all cytoplasm inside my body, it generates tremendous force and fires it outward. Best of all, this skill is not locked to the old 5-minute cooldown of burst. It can be used freely. The cost. Every shot drains my own HP. I think I figured out how my skills work. As a slime mold, I have no access to magic. My cytoplasm is the fuel for everything. All skills must be built around what a slime mold naturally is, which means I will never have anything like a magic spell. For now, the only path forward is to decompose more, absorb more, and grow. Then a thought hits me. Eating things grows my body, so what if I just eat my own body? I quickly track down the chunk the spider monster cut off me earlier. Wait, was the piece it cut off really this big? I try absorbing it anyway. A flood of unfamiliar memories pours into me as I do. It turns out a severed piece of my body doesn't die. It keeps operating on instinct, decomposing on its own. When I reabsorb it, I gain every bit of XP and HP it accumulated on its own. The realization fills me with pure excitement. If I split myself into multiple pieces, send them all out to grind, then reabsorb them later, that's turning one mouth into dozens of mouths. If this works the way I think it does, my leveling speed is going to skyrocket. Without wasting another second, I put the plan into action. However, any split clone that drops below 30 HP enters a self-consuming state. It starts eating itself to stay alive. My current max HP is 198. As long as there's food nearby, I can produce as many clones as I want. I push out a clone with exactly 30 HP. It moves forward without triggering self-consumption. The method works. I split off several more clones and send each one to decompose different targets. With the clones deployed, I finish decomposing the spider monster remains and restore myself to peak condition. Safety first, always. As I grow more familiar with this body, I'm starting to feel genuinely terrifying. Immune to ordinary piercing, immune to ordinary slashing. Advanced slashing attacks are barely getting through either. At this point, it's fair to say that no physical attack can pose a lethal threat to me anymore. The only thing I'm worried about now is magic, but I haven't encountered any so far. Is my world just too small right now, or is this another world really just a wilder version of the animal kingdom? I use my own body as bait to lure crabs, and pull in 5 of them. Then I use the tree to secure 5 kills. Level climbs smoothly to 15. Once my status is fully restored, it's naturally time for some target practice. Cytoplasm blast. After 2 days of quiet grinding, I've pushed cytoplasm blast all the way to level 6. At full HP, I can fire 30 consecutive shots, but the damage is still clearly lacking. How to boost my firepower becomes my next problem. Then I think, why not add something extra to the shots? Wrapping a toxic mushroom around a shot poisons the target from a distance, and wrapping a shot around a rock massively increases the physical impact. I'm an absolute genius. Then, coo coo coo, the sound drifts from a hollow tree nearby. A bird, but why is it glowing? A firefly? Curious. I creep over to get a better look. There, in my field of view, is a semi-transparent owl glowing with a faint light all over its body. A million question marks flood my mind at once, and there it is. A monster that uses magic. But the glowing owl doesn't come after me, because it's busy using a magic skill, shared vision. Elsewhere in the forest, the hooded man asks if the girl has spotted anything. She answers casually, nothing much, just some weird little monster. The hooded man finds it strange. Not a single high-level monster on the road. The girl turns to their mount, steal back, sniff carefully. Find us a way out. The hooded man is troubled. Magic communication is completely cut off, as if something is blocking everything. While those three stroll through the forest without a care, I am running for my life. I aim for a safe spot on the far side of the pond. I reach the bank and launch myself upward, then chain a cytoplasm blast mid-air for a double jump. After burning 80 HP and several minutes of flat-out sprinting, I finally stop somewhere I hope is safe. That was terrifying. I gnaw on a tree branch to recover. Sure, I may be strong for a low-level monster, but facing anything one tier above me, I'd be erased in seconds. Then a suffocating pressure descends from behind me. I think I've been caught. This pressure is even more terrifying than that snake monster earlier. Just what is that glowing owl? But when I look, a massive severed claw comes crashing down into the forest. I approach it, barely able to form words. Is this a finger? Could this be my very own cheat power dropping right out of the sky? My instincts scream at me. Absorb this finger from a high-level magical beast and I won't just close several power gaps at once. I might actually evolve. I start trying to decompose the monstrous finger immediately. But the moment I begin, searing pain tears through every cell. Alert, decompose failed. Skill level too low or level gap with target is too great. Target inviolable triggered. Cells are being consumed in retaliation. My HP immediately begins collapsing. Lucky for me, I've had plenty of practice with severance survival. I managed to save myself by the narrowest margin, but as I frantically decompose wood to recover, the ground begins to shake, centered on that monstrous finger. The earth collapses and keeps spreading outward. I fire off a cytoplasm blast to escape, and watch as the massive crater behind me slowly seals itself back up. I can't stop shaking. The world out there is terrifying. The further out I venture, the smaller I feel. No more arrogance. Laying low and grinding in the shadows is the only path forward right now. But deep underground, where I cannot see, the severed finger is engulfed in something like a living throat, and countless razor-sharp teeth snap shut around it. My position indicator suggests I've most likely moved well out of the glowing owl's range. This spot will do. I'll set up a temporary base here and head back tomorrow to reabsorb my clones. I begin decomposing the surrounding wood immediately. Keep the entrance small, expand the interior. Anything bigger than me won't be able to squeeze in. With the plan set, construction begins. After careful design and a few glow mushrooms planted inside, a safe and cozy little temporary home is complete. Here's the design concept. 2 rooms, 1 real, 1 decoy. Just as I'm about to settle in and enjoy some peace, a buzz 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 vibration rattles my nerves. I poke my head out to protest the noise, and find a massive swarm of wasps. A brilliant idea takes shape. Free XP that walks to your door is free XP you don't waste. I instantly take out 1 wasp. Then I stick my head out and wave. Hello everyone. Sure enough, the moment the swarm spots me, they all pile into the tree hollow at once. What they don't realize is that I've coated the inside like living flypaper. Flying in is the same as flying into a trap, but I don't decompose all of them. I release 2 to follow as scouts. Soon enough, near the main swarm, I use those 2 released wasps to successfully locate the swarm's nest. Then unexpectedly, the 2 wasps perform a strange movement. In an instant, an overwhelming swarm appears before me. Just as I'm thinking this is all free XP, the sheer number of wasps is too great. The surrounding temperature spikes to the point where my cells start dying off. I fire a cytoplasm blast and punch a hole through the swarm, but the next shot is blocked, a beeswax shield, and the wasp behind it uses the shield to slam me hard. As I reposition and think through my options, one wasp yanks out its stinger and waves it through the air, tracing out a small magic circle. The next moment it casts its spell, Swarm Summon. A massive swarm materializes and surrounds me all over again. I identify the types around me: wasp soldiers, wasp guards, and a wasp mage, an evolving magic-wielding species. At the wasp mage's command, the swarm launches its full assault. My cytoplasm blast shots are limited by my HP, but I anchor most of my body to the tree, allowing me to regenerate HP continuously while I keep firing. The swarm isn't stupid. Seeing my heavy firepower, they switch to wasp guards to push through. My basic cytoplasm blasts can't break their defense. I switch to rock-enhanced shots, but I only have 1 rock left in my slime space. The swarm is intelligent, no question, but it has no experience fighting something like me, and tries to stab me to death. With no more ammo, their little move just gave me exactly what I needed, instantly adding 4 wasp lances and 1 wasp stinger to my arsenal. If my slime space weren't full, I'd have taken even more. Enhanced cytoplasm blast, fire. It punches straight through the beeswax shield and the wasp guard behind it. The wasp mage sees this, and immediately issues a retreat order. I let out a cold laugh. Running away now? Did you finally learn not to mess with this slime? But the wasp mage raises its stinger once more. Without warning, the wasp mage conjures a ball of honey. My mouth practically waters at the sight. I'm screaming inside. That honey smells amazing. I just want one taste, but the honey instantly transforms into a fireball. It's the basic spell, Fire Spark. The wasp mage swings its stinger, and the fireball blasts toward me, trailing a wave of scorching heat. It hits dead on. 70 HP, gone in an instant. More fireballs rapidly form in front of the wasp mage, dozens of them charging up at once. They launch one after another. Fire magic already counters me hard, and with the honey splash effect on top, there is no way I can tank this head on. I make my call in an instant. If I can't win, I run. Simple as that. Another second here and I am done. I spin around and bolt at full speed, pushing every bit of movement I have, desperate to put distance between me and the wasp mage. I fire back on the move, launching cytoplasm blasts at the bees chasing me. I aim straight into the swarm, trying to disrupt their formation and buy myself a few more seconds. They activate double beeswax shield. A thick barrier snaps up and blocks every single shot. Buffed fireballs come flying again, and I can't help but cry out, "This is completely unfair! I don't dare slow down! I just keep sprinting, wishing I had even more speed to shake them off." The wasp mage begins to chant, activating swarm summon to cut off my escape. A massive wave of suicide bees is summoned, their bodies radiating an unstable, volatile energy. Every single one locks onto me, and they swarm in without a shred of self-preservation. Explosion after explosion goes off, I get caught in the blast, and my body is blown apart. I push everything I have to hold part of myself together, and barely claw my way out of the blast zone. I land on a branch, barely managing to stick to the bark and stabilize, gasping as I try to recover. The wasp mage sees I'm still alive and immediately waves its stinger, barking out new attack orders. It orders the bees to cut the branch, trying to drop me from this height with no support. The branch snaps instantly. I lose my footing, and fall straight down into the swarm below along with the broken branch. The wasp mage gathers its power again. This fireball is bigger than anything it has launched before. With a single swing of its stinger, the massive fireball surges forward, radiating pure destruction, locking onto me with zero margin for survival. It slams into me with a deafening boom, the shockwave rippling through the very air around us. The blast kicks up a thick cloud of dust and smoke, blocking all visibility. Only the crackling of burning branches remains. The branch that held me is incinerated, snapping into pieces that flutter down through the air. The wasp mage waves its stinger, sending bees to check whether I have been finished off. Suddenly, the hive alarm blares. The piercing sound snaps every bee into full alert. I seize the moment and crawl fast, heading straight for the hive, ready to strike when they least expect it. The guard bees spot me and swarm over immediately, trying to block my advance. They bite down hard, trying to drag me off the hive's edge, but these few guards are nowhere near enough to stop me. The truth is, right from the start, I had been decomposing deep into the tree trunk and quietly carving out a hidden tunnel. When they pushed me back toward the trunk, I burned a huge chunk of HP to create a decoy clone and draw their fire. Sure enough, they focused everything on the decoy, and I slipped through the tunnel straight into their nest. I slide inside the hive without a hitch, immediately spreading myself outward, probing the hive's inner layout. My mycelium spreads rapidly, quickly filling every corner and crack of the hive. I search carefully and stumble upon a honey storage chamber deep inside the hive. My mouth waters at the sight of all that honey, but that's not the target. I'll come back for it later. I push past the honey chamber and keep searching, until I finally find what I came for. I look at the queen bee and feel a surge of quiet satisfaction. This infiltration plan actually worked. The main swarm finally arrives back and finds the queen bee under my control. Instant fury. Every bee glares at me with bloodshot eyes, barely holding back from tearing me apart on the spot. I keep a firm grip on the queen bee and give them my warning. One wrong move, and she dies. The queen bee senses the threat and lets out a rapid distress call, summoning bees to protect her. But the wasp mage immediately raises its staff and commands the entire swarm to attack me regardless. The swarm charges at me with reckless abandon, not a single moment of hesitation. I watch them come and calmly say, "Looks like there is no room for negotiation." I don't hesitate, I act, and the queen bee is eliminated in an instant. The remaining bees convulse in agonizing pain all at once, like soldiers who have lost their commander thrown into total chaos. Without their queen, the bees drop lifelessly to the ground and stop moving entirely. The swarm collapses. I think to myself, the queen bee is like the central hub. Destroy her and the whole swarm falls apart. I wanted to negotiate, but they only know how to follow instinct. I begin decomposing the swarm, drawing every bit of their energy into myself. This decomposition gives my poison resistance a massive boost, and I accidentally unlock a brand new skill, Central Command. This battle pays off in a big way. My HP goes up, my slime space expands, and all that collected honey is pure treasure. I look at the bodies scattered across the ground and feel a storm of mixed emotions, even though I haven't had a heart in a long time. It started with that first kill, turning the tables on a snail, and since then, I've been walking the path of a predator, hunting down one creature after another. I lose it and scream. I never imagined that in this world I would become the villain step by step. I sigh helplessly. It is probably because I still carry a shred of humanity that I feel guilt I probably should not. I am in this world now, and I have no choice. I push the feelings aside and accept the rules. You are either the hunter or the hunted. The law of the jungle rules here. If I want to survive in this world, hunting, decomposing, and growing stronger is my only option. I decide to start retrieving my clones. I wonder what surprises they will bring back this time. I regroup and move fast, heading toward where my clone should be. After moving for a while, flickering firelight appears up ahead, catching my attention. attention. I stop dead in my tracks, not daring to move forward rashly. I suspect humans are ahead. I creep closer quietly, wanting to see what is going on. I extend part of my body like an antenna, carefully picking up sounds and movement from ahead. On a clearing ahead, 3 humans sit together around a campfire, resting. One of them has sharp instincts. They instantly detect exactly where I am hiding. They strike immediately, launching an ice spike that hits my clone dead on. My main body is linked to the clone. The cold shoots through me, and I shudder all over. The other 2 snap to attention, both turning to face my direction. They see me pinned there, their eyes sharp with suspicion and caution. Their pet moves in and starts sniffing and probing my body. Without warning, it opens its jaws and bites right into me. The pain makes my whole body convulse. With the clone linked to my main form, every sensation is magnified to an unbearable level. The pet begins draining my energy, slowly pulling me in, and I am about to be consumed entirely. At the critical moment, the pink-haired woman speaks up and stops the pet from continuing. She says there is no need for senseless killing. I am just a small creature passing through. She orders the pet to release me and leave me alone. Steel back obediently lets go and spits me out. I land in Nia's hand. She looks at me and says I feel somehow familiar. She smiles and asks me if I would like to form a monster pact with her. I am overjoyed inside. She is like an angel. I desperately want to respond. I want nothing more than to nod and agree to the pact right now. A man walks over to stop her. Nia, he says, don't waste your magic on something as low level as a slime. Nia gently sets me down, a hint of reluctance in her eyes. I realize they cannot hear me speak, so I immediately think of using a clone to communicate. I split off a small piece of myself and control it as it crawls toward Nia. The man looks at my clone with confusion and asks Nia what on earth is going on. What I am doing is using the clone to carefully spell out the Chinese characters for hello on the ground. Surely that should prove I have a mind of my own, but the man just mutters to himself. He thinks I'm excreting and finds it remarkably unusual. I freeze up completely. Of course, people in this world have no idea what Chinese characters from Earth even look like. I worry that pushing further might get me killed, so I quietly give up and slip away. At least now I know this world has humans, and that is enough for now. I change direction, spread myself out, and glide over the river ahead. I make it across and finally return to familiar territory. I pray the whole way. Please, not the glowing owl. Not today. I focus and activate Central Command, trying to use my new ability to sense the locations of my scattered clones. I concentrate hard, scanning carefully for the signal and position of each clone. Within moments, I pick up a clear clone signal. This is exactly what Central Command can do. I do not waste another second. I move out at full speed toward the signal. The signal grows stronger with every move forward. The target must be close. When I arrive, I cannot help but gasp. The clone in front of me is enormous. I think to myself, just how much did it decompose to grow this big? I activate my recall skill. The system confirms success, and I gain a massive flood of experience. As I retrieve clone after clone, system alerts keep chiming. My HP surpasses its maximum cap. My poison resistance and mold resistance both climb sharply, and my level successfully reaches 22. I take a brief moment to recover, then head out again to find the rest of my unretrieved clones. I activate Central Command once more, pushing my full focus to locate the remaining clones. The clone signal suddenly weakens. I panic, frantically searching for my precious clone. I scan in every direction and finally spot traces of my clone on the other side. A snail is gnawing away at my clone. Rage ignites inside me. I spit out a cytoplasm blast and launch the snail away, roaring at it to get lost. My little clone is trembling with fright, curled up to the side and too scared to move. My heart aches for it. I gently soothe the clone and quietly promise to get it out of here soon. I move toward the clone quickly, eager to retrieve it without delay. Suddenly, a long tongue shoots out from the side and latches onto my clone in an instant. It is a frog, and it swallows my clone whole right before my eyes. I erupt with fury. That was my clone, and it just got eaten. I swear it will pay for this. I scream that it owes me blood, and I am here to collect. I launch a cytoplasm blast, wrapping a rock in it and hurling it straight at the frog. The rock hits dead on. Watching the frog flinch in pain is deeply satisfying. I snort with contempt. Taking down an opponent this easily makes me think I might even hold my own against the serpent griffin now. But the frog catches the rock cleanly with its tongue, completely unharmed. It catches the rock, then turns and leaps toward the river, trying to escape. I roar out. Running is not an option. I am not letting it get away today. I lock my focus on the frog's head in the water and fire 3 rocks back to back with cytoplasm blast. The frog ducks below the surface. All 3 sticky rocks plunge into the water and do absolutely nothing. I am fuming. It is in the water and I am on the bank, completely powerless. The frog suddenly leaps out of the water. Right, it is amphibious. Of course it cannot stay under forever. It needs air. It cannot stay submerged forever. I make a quiet vow. This time, I will make it pay. The frog jumps back onto land, jaws wide open, lunging at me with vicious force. I dodge just in time. The frog misses and crashes hard into the rocks. Mid-air, I fire a cytoplasm blast, and the rock hits the frog square in the eye. I immediately split and stretch part of my body, latching firmly onto a thick branch nearby. I use the momentum and swing myself up into the safety of the tree above. That is when it hits me. It was never trying to escape. It was luring me toward the pond to hunt me. The frog turns and locks onto me in the tree, then leaps at me again with its mouth wide open. My heart sinks. I have used up all my rocks. I have nothing left to throw. Without hesitating, I spit out my own slime and hurl it at the frog. The frog opens its mouth and eats all of it. My attack does absolutely nothing. nothing. I am stunned. I never imagined it would just eat my attack. The frog climbs up the trunk and quickly closes in on the branch where I am perched. Then it snaps its tongue out with explosive speed, latching onto my body with perfect precision, and yanks hard. I grip the branch with everything I have, but the branch cannot hold. It snaps under the strain and I lose my last foothold. Despair washes over me. This is it. I am about to fall straight into the frog's mouth, but at the last second, I flip the broken branch around and drive it hard into the frog's mouth. The frog screams in pain and releases me instantly, tumbling off the tree with a shriek. It crashes into the lake below with a heavy splash. My nerves are still rattled. I quietly count my luck. That was way too close. The frog's body sinks into the water and I cannot decompose it. A complete waste of resources. Then the surface of the lake erupts. A powerful presence rises from below. A sudden attack slams into me, knocking away half my body. The branch I am standing on takes a direct hit and snaps instantly. I am falling again. And the half of me that was knocked away, it is clamped in the jaws of a white frog that appeared out of nowhere. I stare in disbelief. That frog evolved. It is so much stronger than before. The white frog's red eyes glow with an eerie crimson light, its entire presence radiating something deeply unsettling. 2 jets of blood shoot out from its eyes, laced with lethal toxins and aimed straight at me. I dodge just barely. Those 2 crimson beams narrowly miss me. I immediately split off a clone, using it to grab a branch above and keep myself stable. Then I start swinging through the trees, alternating clone grips branch by branch to move forward. I make a quiet decision. A smart mold knows when to cut its losses. First priority, get out of here. I cannot wrap my head around it. How does a low-level creature end up with abilities this bizarre? The white frog lunges with its mouth open, blindingly fast, suddenly right behind me. I push my swinging speed to the max, desperately trying to open up more distance. The white frog stops and touches the eye I injured earlier. Blood wells up from the wounded eye and hardens into a blood whip that cracks toward me. The blood whip hits me dead on. A surge of intense poison floods into my body instantly. I am genuinely shocked. My poison resistance is at level 8, and even that cannot hold back this toxin. The white frog activates its tongue whip. Its long tongue cracks toward me with enormous force. The tongue latches onto my body with perfect aim. I am locked in place, completely unable to break free. The white frog whips me hard and sends me crashing straight down into the lake below. I force myself to stay calm. Physical hits do not hurt me that badly. I can handle this. The real problem is that I am in the water now. My osmotic pressure is going haywire. I need to get out immediately. The white frog comes from behind, jaws stretched wide, trying to swallow me whole. It succeeds. I am caught, pulled entirely into its mouth. I writhe and struggle inside its mouth, searching desperately for any way out. I can feel it. My HP is draining steadily, eaten away by its venom with every passing second. I try to launch my main body out before I get digested, but I cannot even pry its mouth open. I have nothing left. The frog uses its hands to stuff me deeper in. I am being compressed further, and the situation is getting desperate. I know there is no other way. I steel myself and go all in. I push with everything I have, forcing myself to ooze outward through any gap I can find, fighting for that one slim chance. I break free from its mouth and hit the water, and immediately start absorbing as much water as I possibly can. I drink the water in, expanding my body to its limit. Osmotic pressure be damned. I am going to burst this frog from the inside out. It is still trying to push me down its throat, and that is the last straw. I am done holding back. I unleash every drop of honey I have stored, flooding the frog's entire body in an instant. Honey and water fill the frog beyond its limit. Its body swells and stretches on the verge of bursting. The frog explodes, and I ride the shockwave, blasting free from inside it. Defeating the creature earns me a massive wave of experience, and after decomposing it, I unlock a brand new antibody. I look at my drastically expanded size and cannot help but marvel. I am enormous. My body is filled with water right now, and the expanded size actually helps stabilize my osmotic pressure. An unexpected bonus. But my HP, tens of thousands of points, is draining fast. It hurts to watch. This state cost me everything I had saved up. I need to make the most of it before it runs out. I look at my massive body and a fun idea suddenly pops into my head. I think of that rolling sticky ball game, and I decide to sweep through this entire forest the same way. I start rolling forward, decomposing everything I roll over without stopping. Small fish in the river, all wrapped up and absorbed, becoming fuel for my growth. Even with my osmotic pressure stabilized, the drag in the water slows me down considerably. Fish are too agile to catch efficiently. Even with my size advantage, it is not worth the time. I make the call and head for land. I can operate far more efficiently on solid ground. Once on shore, I go on a rampage, absorbing everything around me, my body growing larger and larger by the second. Ahead of me, 2 small creatures are fixated on a fish, and they have only just noticed the massive thing rolling toward them. I try to say hello, but at this size I just end up scaring them both half to death. I engulf them in an instant, and casually take the fish on the ground to replenish my energy. Once I have absorbed the fish, I leave the 2 creatures behind, covered head to toe in slime but unharmed. I think I have enough resources. No need for needless killing. Call it the last remnant of my human conscience. I push forward and spot another creature, and this one immediately catches my eye. This squirrel has a flaming tail, clearly no ordinary creature. The squirrel spits fire at me. The scorching flames hit me dead on and the heat is miserable. Fire magic really does counter me hard. I growl. It started this. So do not blame me for what comes next. I shout that fire is prohibited in the forest and roll forward to engulf the flame squirrel entirely. The system quickly confirms the target is defeated and experience is gained, and decomposing it earns bonus experience on top. Before long, I have become a massive ball, rolling through the forest and collecting everything in my path. I roll and absorb without stopping, growing so enormous I nearly blot out the sky. Something feels off. The area I have swept through is enormous, but the forest around me is still as thick and dense as ever, as if I had not touched it at all. Then I realize the ground itself is moving. Confusion and shock flood through me. A massive magic circle flashes across the sky above, and before I can process what it means, the system announces it is clearing excess HP, and my body begins rapidly shrinking. Within moments, I am back to my original size. The massive form is completely gone. Then the results screen pops up, and my eyes light up immediately. I stare at the results in disbelief. After all that chaos, I have jumped straight to level 49. The system announces, nutrition overload complete. Activation threshold for next time is multiplied by 5. My slime space is also completely full. I decide to clear it out first. Even though it expanded, there is way too much junk packed inside. My stomach turns, and I expel all the junk from my slime space in one go. A pile of debris forms in front of me, and once it is all out, I feel incredibly light. I stretch out with satisfaction, but with no experience gained for an hour, I have no idea what to do with myself. The panel shows that class evolution unlocks at level 60, and I am only at 49. I am buzzing with excitement. This is going to be a full transformation, something completely different from a regular level up. I can barely wait. Imagine learning magic after the evolution, and then dominating this entire world. I burst out laughing, filled with endless anticipation for the path of power ahead. Then something flies over my head, and it catches my attention immediately. I look up and recognize the magic-wielding wasp mages I encountered earlier. 3 of them. Interesting. I decide to keep a close eye on where they are going. I quietly follow behind, determined to find out what they are up to. I keep pace with them, and before long we arrive at a massive colony of hives. The scale of this place is staggering. Hives spread out as far as I can see, a far more powerful version of the hive I raided earlier. Suddenly 2 enormous feet crush a wide section of hives. The impact shakes the ground. I get a clear look. It is a massive bird, and it is tearing through the hive, devouring the larvae inside with wild abandon. I recognize it as the strange bird that frightened me before, though the coloring of its feathers is a bit different. The entire swarm charges the great bird in a desperate all-out counterattack, but every single attack is useless. They cannot crack the bird's outer defense at all. Even the serpent head on its body does not take a scratch from the swarm. The swarm wraps itself around the great bird layer by layer, trying to overwhelm it through sheer numbers. But the bird gives one casual shake and sends every single bee flying. Then the 3 wasp mages begin to chant, summoning a massive volley of fireballs, and launching them all at the great bird. A sea of fire swallows the bird whole. The destructive power is more than 10 times what I have seen from them before. I watch from behind a rock in awe. This is on a completely different level from that earlier hive. But the great bird simply opens its mouth and swallows every last flame, completely unscathed. The fire disappears into its belly, and its body slowly shifts to a vivid blazing red. The wasp mages witness this, and their eyes fill with fear and panic. The great bird begins its counterattack against the swarm, while its serpent head strikes simultaneously, using heat detection to pinpoint the exact location of the queen bee. It bites down and kills the queen bee in a single strike, instantly shattering the entire swarm's will to fight. Bees drop dead by the hundreds. I seize the moment and begin decomposing and absorbing their bodies. Then ice suddenly encases the great bird's wings, breaking its attack rhythm. I spot the humans I encountered earlier. They are calling this creature the serpent griffin. I stay hidden behind the rock and keep decomposing, watching curiously to see if the humans plan to hunt it. The serpent griffin melts the ice with ease, shaking off every fragment that clings to its body. The blonde captain tells the mage Cole to prepare a high-level ice spell, while he buys time to let Cole finish the chant. Cole agrees. "One move," he says, and the serpent griffin is done. He tells the captain to hold it steady. The serpent griffin sweeps its massive claws forward with a fierce gust, lunging straight at the captain. The captain raises his shield and takes the hit head-on, locking into a standoff with the serpent griffin. The captain grits his teeth and remarks that this thing is incredibly strong. It must have evolved by feasting freely after the higher-level creatures disappeared. The shield unleashes a powerful rebound, launching the serpent griffin back several steps. A volley of rocks immediately flies toward the captain. At the same time, the serpent griffin's serpent head snaps open and lunges viciously at the captain. Nia immediately orders her steel-back beast to charge at the serpent griffin and disrupt its attack. The collision works. The serpent griffin recoils in pain and lets out a shriek, and the serpent head fails to reach the captain. The serpent griffin pulls its serpent head back, its rage surging to a boil, and unleashes a torrent of terrifying fire. The sheer power of those flames is devastating. It is a high-level spell, pseudo-dragon breath, and the pressure it gives off is overwhelming. Cole is alarmed and immediately warns everyone. This is a lethal, high-level spell. Without hesitation, he orders everyone to go defensive and hold against this attack. Cole begins chanting immediately and summons the high-level spell Glacial Wall to block the flames. A thick wall of ice materializes and pushes back against the pseudo-dragon breath head-on. The flames scorch everything they touch. The intense heat relentlessly hammers the ice wall from the other side. I watch from the shadows in disbelief. If I stepped into a fight at this level, I would be ash before I blinked. The ice wall melts steadily under the heat. It is barely holding holding on and about to shatter. Cole shouts and pours more power into the spell, converting the ordinary ice wall into dense, reinforced ice crystal. The upgraded crystal wall holds firm against the flames and buys them just enough breathing room. I am full of envy watching this. I think to myself, how incredible would it be if I could use magic? Cole grimaces. His chant was broken and he cannot use another high-level spell for now. So the captain, Hawk, changes tactics and turns to Nia, ordering her to have Steelback Beast provide cover fire. Nia activates her pet immediately. Steelback Beast unleashes a barrage of spines straight at the Serpent Griffin. The dense volley of spines lands on the Serpent Griffin and gives Captain Hawk the opening he needs to charge up. Captain Hawk charges every ounce of power in his body, pushing himself to 100% output. He slams off the ground and rockets into the air, spinning and winding up mid-flight. He brings down his ultimate move, Meteor Hammer, and drives it with full force into the Serpent Griffin's serpent head. The serpent head takes the blow and screams in agonizing pain. The Serpent Griffin's bird head drops instantly and goes completely still. Hawk lets out a breath and declares the Serpent Griffin is finished. Cole shakes his head in admiration. That Serpent Griffin was at high-level monster tier, and the captain handled it. Truly reliable. I quietly admire their teamwork. Beating something stronger through strategy and coordination is impressive. I need to find a way to ride on these humans' coattails, and fast. Hawk asks Nia to try reading the corpse's memories to search for any clues about the guildmaster. But then, without warning, the serpent head surges back to life and bites down hard on Hawk's shoulder. The Serpent Griffin's bird head also regains consciousness at the same moment, and Cole scrambles to fire an ice spike at the serpent head. He warns Hawk, the serpent head carries a petrifying poison. He needs to take the purification potion now. Nia sees what is happening, and quickly hands Hawk the purification potion. Hawk tilts his head back immediately, and pours the potion into his mouth, but the petrification has already reached his throat. He cannot swallow. The poison spreads with terrifying speed. In an instant, Hawk's entire body turns to stone, completely immobilized. Nia stares at the petrified Hawk, standing beside him, heartbroken and powerless. Cole shouts that there is no time to grieve, and orders Nia to run, right now, without looking back. Cole explains that the Serpent Griffin has absorbed the captain's life force. It will be back to full strength very soon. He urges Nia to flee while it is still weakened. Their lives depend on it. But the Serpent Griffin, already recovering, has no intention of giving them the chance to escape. On the run, Cole immediately drinks a magic potion to rapidly restore his depleted mana. His expression is grave as he states that this Serpent Griffin has reached Lord tier among high-level monsters. But if they can bring a royal cleric within 1 week, they can still save the captain. Cole watches the Serpent Griffin rapidly recovering and steels himself to lead the fight ahead. The Serpent Griffin spreads its wings and surges toward both of them, intent on finishing them for good. Nia turns to Cole in a panic, asking what on earth they are supposed to do now. Cole tells Nia not to be afraid. He already has a plan. He tells her to hold on to her mana because they will need it to get out of this forest. Cole raises his hand and unleashes the mid-level spell Ice Machine Gun, firing it straight at the Serpent Griffin. The Serpent Griffin's legs are instantly frozen solid, locking it in place. Cole seizes the moment and drives a barrage of ice crystals straight into the immobilized Serpent Griffin. The Serpent Griffin thrashes in fury and begins building up another devastating high-level fire spell. Cole sees it coming and warns Nia. The Serpent Griffin is charging up another high-level fire attack. He tells her to forget everything else. Just run and do not stop. If he does not hold the Serpent Griffin here, neither of them makes it out. Cole then turns to Nia and thanks her for the support she gave him earlier, and in the next second, he resolves himself and summons Glacial Wall, sealing himself inside the ice, blocking the attack with his own body. Nia watches Cole sacrifice himself, her heart filled with grief and anguish. Nia finally mounts Steelback Beast, tears streaming down her face, and races toward the edge of the forest. She makes a silent vow to herself. She will bring the intelligence from this forest back to the church no matter what. A glowing owl appears above Nia, and she recognizes it with a joyful start. It is little Mew. She says happily that with an owl's aerial vision, finding the way out of the forest will be much easier. But the owl acts as though it does not recognize her at all. It simply perches on a branch, and slowly turns its head, revealing a disturbing and horrifying appearance. Strange parasites writhe and crawl around its eyes. The sight is deeply unsettling. Nia immediately senses something is terribly wrong. This owl has been corrupted. At that same moment, deep inside a sealed and enclosed space, Century Guildmaster Gorn has just cut down 100 monsters and stops to rest, and a system panel appears before him as well. The system issues a warning. The host boosted vitality state has reached its time limit. The mana loan period has expired. Repayment of stamina begins now. Gorn responds calmly. He already knows. At that moment, the monster corpses on the ground begin to gather on their own, merging into a massive towering form. The Swamp Lord, Kotayarava, speaks. It says it can hear Gorn's ragged breathing. For 2 years, Gorn slaughtered high-level monsters to extinction, and Kotayarava died more times than it could count. But now, at last, Gorn's reserves have been completely drained. It mocks Gorn. All he ever relied on was that thing called the system, and that is the only reason his guild rose to join the 8 great guilds so quickly. But Kotayarava had already gathered intelligence on transmigrators from other universes long ago, and its goal was always to eliminate anomalies like Gorn. It offers Gorn one final choice: become its puppet or join their dimensional ascension plan. Gorn tightens his grip on his weapon and speaks. My answer is this: I will kill every last one of you. Kotayarava responds with a cold laugh. Inside the eternal barrier, it cannot die and cannot be destroyed. Everything Gorn does here is utterly in vain. Kotairava's form materializes behind Gorn, ready to strike a fatal blow. It snarls that no matter how strong Gorn is, he is still flesh and bone. Refuse to cooperate and he dies here today. Gorn stays calm and reaches into his storage space, pulling out a sealed container and hurling it at Kotairava. Inside is true holy water, the one thing that can counter evil beings like this. The liquid drenches Kotairava, and it demands to know what Gorn just threw at it. The answer comes fast. The true holy water ignites, and Kotairava shrieks in agony. Sacred energy floods the space, purging every trace of evil and corruption. Gorn explains that true holy water burns the soul directly, making it the perfect counter to an undead being like Kotairava. Kotairava screams back, even angels have fallen, so where did Gorn get his hands on true holy water? It curses and rages through the pain, but nothing can stop the purification. Its voice fades away. Just as silence seems to settle in, the system blares an emergency alert. High energy signature detected. Target regenerating. The next second, a pillar of light erupts from the ground, blasting monster corpses in every direction. Gorn reads it immediately. This is Kotairava's last resort. Rebirth in its holy fallen form. Kotairava, now in its holy fallen form, laughs wildly. It nearly died, but the holy water did not finish the job after all. Gorn is stunned. It adapted? He demands to know how it gained that resistance so quickly. Kotairava laughs and says Gorn has only himself to thank. It brings up the Dragon Emperor's finger Gorn had knocked away in a previous fight. Back then, it was already impressed that Gorn's spear technique could pierce even Dragon Emperor hide. After the Dragon Emperor's finger was lost, a weak monster picked it up. But Kotairava used that connection to trace the location and reclaim the Dragon Emperor's finger. Only after recovering it did it realize Gorn had coated his weapon in true holy water all along. And because Gorn kept it hidden for so long, Kotairava had all the time it needed to build resistance. Still laughing, Kotairava unleashes abyssal magic. Earth burial. Rocks and earth erupt upward, swallowing Gorn whole. Buried underground, Gorn immediately activates earth absorption. He forces out every drop of power and bursts free from the earth. In the same breath, he launches all-piercing strike, shooting toward Kotairava like a beam of light. Kotairava sneers. Even the best gear has a durability limit. How much longer does Gorn plan to keep struggling? Then it fires back with abyssal magic. Death scream. A massive magical shockwave tears toward Gorn. Gorn grits his teeth and takes it head on, his body absorbing the crushing impact, but still pushing forward. The system fires off warning after warning. Weapon durability near critical. Immediate repair required. Magic resistance below 20%. Body entering fatigue state. Gorn roars and drives his inch-force spiral strike, pouring out every last drop of strength to push this high-tier combat skill. The system screams. Using a high-tier skill in this condition will cause irreversible damage. Gorn ignores it completely. His weapon spins faster and faster, letting out a deep, rising hum. Then it happens. The weapon shatters under the strain. Shards fly everywhere. The scene is brutal. Kotairava is thrilled at the sight. It launches all-piercing strikes straight at Gorn. Gorn has nothing left to block with. The hit lands hard, slamming him back into the ground. He looks at his left arm, soaked in blood. He can tell. It is gone for good. Kotairava mocks him. What an idiot, refusing to just lie down and die. It sneers and asks, surely Gorn does not still think he can turn this around? Gorn's mind floods with regret. He should have used all the holy water from the start. If he had, none of this would have happened. Then Kotairava raises the Dragon Emperor's finger, charging up its ultimate attack to end Gorn's life. It declares farewell, mocking Gorn. Even with a system, he was never going to beat the entire church. The Dragon Emperor's finger concentrates terrifying power, aimed directly at Gorn. Death is inches away. At that critical moment, Gorn's eyes sharpen. He pulls a rolled scroll out of his storage space. He unfurls it, covered in otherworldly writing. The writing carries a spell of its own. A magic circle forms instantly and whisks Gorn away. Elsewhere, Nia cries out in desperation, unable to understand why little Mew has fallen to corruption. She spots Steelback pinned under a fallen tree and rushes to channel magical energy to heal it. The corrupted owl suddenly mutates, sprouting 3 heads, an overwhelming, terrifying presence. One of those heads lunges straight at Nia. Nia reacts fast and casts mind control magic. The attacking head freezes in place, and Nia slips into little Mew's mental world. She breathes a sigh of relief. The pet contract is still intact. That is the only reason she could get in. Inside little Mew's mental world, Nia sees little Mew standing alongside a figure, an angel. She is bewildered. What is a holy angel doing inside little Mew's mental world? The angel calls out to Nia, its voice soft and gentle. Then the other half of the angel's face twists into something horrifying, and it screams at Nia to come forward. Back in the real world, Nia screams. The mental shock hits her like a sledgehammer. The owl seizes the moment and lunges to attack her again, but a hammer connects with deadly precision. That hammer is mine to control, and I am not letting this thing touch Nia. I follow up by launching a storm of rocks, hammering the owl like a downpour. Nia snaps back to her senses and recognizes the weapon. It is Hawk's. I spin Hawk's weapon at full speed, quietly impressed with myself. Controlling things with cytoplasm is actually more nimble than using hands. I unleash the slime meteor hammer. If rocks are my bullets, then this weapon is my cannon. I hurl it with full force. One clean strike shatters the tree trunk, trapping Steel back, quick and efficient. I pull the weapon back, feeling very pleased with myself, and completely misjudge the force. It smacks right into me. The pain rattles every inch of my slime body. Nia comes over and thanks me for saving her and Steel back. She gently cups me in her hands and says she senses a familiar presence coming from me. She says she thinks she knows what this means. My heart leaps with excitement, but the next second Nia bursts into tears and wails that Hawk must be possessing me to save her. I am screaming no in my head. At that moment, the owl we knocked down shakes itself back to consciousness, and and hauls itself upright. Furious, Nia tells Steel back she is channeling magic energy to it and asks if it can still fight. I take the opportunity to stretch myself outward and scout the area, while pushing my maxed out pulse skill to full power. The owl lunges to swallow me whole, but it cannot get near my core. I even turn rocks around and smash them right back into it, driving it absolutely mad. The owl screams at me non-stop. I have no idea what it is saying, but I am sure none of it is polite. Then Steel back comes charging in hard, sending the owl flying. I seize the opening and swing Hawk's weapon with everything I have got. I pour every drop of cytoplasm into the cytoplasm cannon, swearing this thing is going to learn what this slime is made of. The blow crashes into the owl with brutal force, slamming it clean into a tree trunk. The owl dies on impact. Its body slumps against the trunk, completely still. Nia recognizes me. I am the little creature she spotted near the campfire just a few hours ago, she says when she scanned the area through Little Mew's vision. I showed up there too. She smiles and asks, do I have a thing for her? Is that why I have been following her around? She scoops me up again and says our compatibility is off the charts. My heart races. This is it, the moment I have been waiting for. Nia asks me seriously, would I be willing to form a pet contract with her? She promises she will train me well and help me grow stronger. Then the system pops up an alert. Signing a subjugation contract will permanently forfeit access to the system. I freeze. The system or a beautiful partner? I can only pick one. I think it over. The system is great, sure, but nothing beats the classic hero gets the girl story. I picture it, training side by side with Nia, taking on stronger and stronger enemies together. I see us rising to the very top, and I even picture myself evolving into a dashing hero, then taking down the final villain, then falling for Nia, getting married and living happily ever after. Systems like this are a dime a dozen. Without a second thought, I choose her. I have already written the whole story in my head. I am ready to say yes. Just as I am about to answer, a sharp burst of pain hits out of nowhere. The downed owl is up to something, and what makes it even more unsettling, the head I smashed apart has grown back as a human head. Steelback sees it and charges in without a second thought. I'm screaming in my head. Bad idea. Easy there, buddy. Do not just rush in. Just as Steelback is about to connect, the owl fires off abyssal magic. Devolution ray. The ray hits Steelback. It shrinks instantly, its whole body transforming. Steelback ends up as a tiny lizard and scrambles away in a panic. I am stunned. Devolution magic. This is not Little Mew at all. Something else is controlling that body. Then the owl speaks, in a human voice. It curses Kotairava for being useless and incompetent. It grumbles that the old church leaders never listen, and now it has to come clean up this mess personally. That voice belongs to the blue-capped guildmaster, Merlin. Merlin has sensed the binding barrier is gone, and vows he will not let Gorn get away. He unleashes abyssal magic, storm wings. Razor-edged wings tear out from his back. A blade-sharp gale rips through the area. The force is terrifying. I can barely keep my eyes open. Nia has no time to dodge. Half her head is sliced clean off. She dies instantly. Merlin flies off. I finally piece it together. He had transferred his consciousness into the owl's corpse, and I was too small to even register as a threat. The chaos leaves me numb. Should I be relieved that the contract never got signed? That I survived? I shut that thought down hard. A friend was just killed, doing nothing and just surviving. That is not who I am. I will avenge Nia. Even if I cannot kill Merlin, I will at least spit cytoplasm in his face. I sprint after him in the direction he flew. Elsewhere in the forest, Gorn's system flashes an update. Magic debt fully repaid. HP remaining, 789. Magic fully depleted. Gorn tells the system to stop playing dumb. He has nothing left. He needs it to keep reaching out to the transmigrator at the target coordinates. The system reports that the transmigrator is already heading this way. Gorn knows the church will send another cleanup crew. He has to get the transmigrator out before that happens. But rushing through the forest, Gorn accidentally steps on one of my scout clones. I am hiding nearby and mistake him for Merlin coming to finish me off. So without thinking, I swing the hammer and bring it crashing down on his head. The moment I see who it is, my heart sinks. I just hit the wrong person. Gorn goes down, out cold from one hit. I scramble to apologize, explaining the forest was too dark to see clearly, and also, who designed that helmet? I edge over nervously and ask if he is still alive. Gorn jolts awake and grabs me. He catches the scent of Nia's blood and explodes with rage. He sees Hawk's weapon and assumes I'm a church spy. He is going to kill me. Then, two system chimes ring out at the exact same moment. Connection successful. Gorn stares at the interface in front of me. He is stunned. I have a system too. I am just as shocked. I was not the only one with a system in this world. Gorn calms down and fills me in on everything. He tells me he was the one who summoned me to this world. It all clicks. My random drop into this world was his doing. I tell him honestly, I am too weak. I would just be dead weight. Gorn reassures me he was just as weak when he first arrived. The system is what made him grow. I push back a little sore about it. At least he was a person who could learn magic. I am just a helpless little slime. At that, Gorn reaches up and starts to remove his helmet. He tells me he is not actually human either. My jaw drops. I ask what race he actually is. Gorn answers plainly, he is a goblin, a race that humans despise. I blurt out every stereotype I know. Gross, ugly, disgusting little things. I tell him honestly, being a cute little slime sounds way better than being a goblin. Gorn takes off the helmet and agrees. Being a goblin has made life in the human world very difficult. Then I see his face, and I cannot help but gasp. He is unbelievably good looking. I protest immediately. We are both transmigrators. Why is there such a massive gap in how we look? Gorn stands and says there is no time for this. The church sent Merlin, one of the 7 holy knights and the most dangerous of them all. They need to move. He then tells me with full seriousness that he is going to sink all of his magic and combat skills to me. My system system connects. I can barely process it. Am I really about to go from zero to unstoppable overnight? Gorn says this fight has drained everything he has left. The road ahead is even more dangerous, and he needs me fighting alongside him. I hear that and brace myself. Here comes the tired old conquer the world speech. Gorn shakes his head. The church already controls this world. Their goal is to sacrifice every living soul to open the dimensional ascension gate. I am completely floored. I press him. How exactly do they plan to sacrifice every life in the world? Gorn sighs. He tells me that when he first arrived, he was the lowest of the low, a goblin pup with nothing. He grew up in an abandoned mine, surviving on scraps until his system awakened at age 5. Only then did he put an end to the horrors happening in that mine with his own hands. He rescued the female heroes who had been used as breeding tools, broken in both body and mind, and used his skill communion to help them recover. That hits close to home. I may be a slime, but deep down I have always seen myself as human. Then it hits me. I stare at him. Communion? Is that kind of skill? Gorn explains. Using communion with different female adventurers boosts the corresponding attributes. It just takes a heavy toll on his stamina and time. The upside is that every session earns him a massive amount of experience, so his growth rate was off the charts. Through communion, he built a strong foundation in both physical and magical combat, and built a family with the women he had saved. I am utterly speechless. It really feels like he is just flexing on me at this point. Then his expression darkens. Going to the royal capital was the worst decision of his life. His wife and children were all killed. Just then, Merlin comes flying in out of nowhere, shattering the heavy silence. Before Gorn can even move, Merlin slashes straight across at both of us. He fires Wind Split Cone. A towering blade of wind hammers into the ground. The earth erupts into a massive crater. Merlin lands dead center, perfectly composed. Merlin is fascinated to learn Gorn is a goblin. He says he would love to take him back for live dissection, but the Pope's orders are clear. Gorn must die. He casually asks how Gorn managed to kill Kodirava. The system flashes a critical alert. Symbiotic armor durability at 0. Armor destroyed. Immediate retreat advised. Gorn tells it to shut up. Merlin smirks and asks if Gorn is having a conversation with some invisible system. Gorn fires back. Merlin is a soulless monster, and the church's most loyal lapdog. Merlin shrugs it off. In the eyes of higher dimensions, lives are worthless. Right then, I seize the moment and hurl rocks straight at him. Merlin reaches out casually and catches every single rock I threw without even trying. Merlin looks utterly unimpressed and scoffs. Is this really all Gorn has left? Some low-level creature? When Merlin fixes his gaze on me, my body locks up completely. It feels like he is seeing straight through me, but it works. I successfully break his focus. He realizes he was distracted, yet he does not even care. He is certain we have nowhere to run. Gorn charges forward and declares he was never planning to run. He launches Weak Point Breaker straight at Merlin. Merlin conjures Abyssal Magic, Flame Cube, throwing it up as a barrier. My heart pounds. I am terrified Gorn is about to get swatted aside like nothing. Merlin admits openly that close combat is his weak point, which is exactly why he will never let Gorn get close. Gorn roars back. Weak Point Breaker works on magic too. His fist punches straight through the flames. Gorn closes the distance in an instant and seizes Merlin hard by the throat. Gorn's eyes are cold and unblinking. If he is going down, he is taking Merlin with him. Without hesitation, Gorn activates his ultimate skill, Final Bond. He is going all in. Merlin panics and screams for Gorn to let go. He knows exactly how devastating this skill is. The system chimes in. Final Bond will reduce Gorn's HP to absolute 0. Please reconsider. Gorn does not even flinch. He drives Final Bond to its full power. Merlin lets out a horrified scream as his soul is forcibly ripped from his body. Gorn begins to fade, and through it all he apologizes. This was his only option left. He tells me to save this world and never trust anyone from the church. Not a single one. His body continues to dissolve piece by piece until he is gone completely, vanished into the air. His voice lingers one last moment. Believe in yourself. Then he is gone. The world around me goes quiet, as if nothing happened at all. I just stand there, his name echoing over and over in my head. Then the unthinkable. Merlin rises back into the air, cursing furiously that this whole mission was a complete disaster. He groans about his life candles, 5 of the ones connecting him to the chaos universe, snuffed out in one go. He grumbles that this holy fallen corpse is the only vessel he has left to inhabit. I blast him in the face with cytoplasm and cut his whining short. I shout that I am carrying on Gorn's will, and I will avenge Nia too. Quietly, I leave a clone behind, just in case I need an escape route. Merlin is furious. He snarls that I am nothing but a low-tier contracted beast Gorn left behind. Then he decides I will take Gorn's place and receive every last drop of his rage. Merlin fires Dark Abyss Magic, Devolution Ray, straight into me. I am completely unharmed. The ray has 0 effect on me. Merlin is beside himself. He cannot understand why the magic did nothing. He refuses to accept it. There is no way a weak little creature like me can resist him. I know exactly what is happening. Gorn left him crippled, and Merlin has no idea what I am actually capable of. I activate my exploration skill and get ready to use my information advantage to catch him completely off guard. Right at that moment, the serpent griffin from before bursts onto the scene and kicks Merlin clean off his feet. Merlin crashes into a boulder. Blood sprays everywhere. Merlin curses up a storm and swears he will reduce this entire swamp forest to ash. The serpent griffin hears that and begins building fire across its entire body, charging up its most powerful attack. It unleashes pseudo-dragon breath, a torrent of roaring flames that swallows Merlin whole. Merlin screams in agony inside the inferno, his body burning without stop. In moments, all that is left of Merlin is a charred, blackened lump. The serpent griffin opens its jaw and swallows the charred remains whole. After swallowing Merlin, clone, the serpent griffin begins to radiate. A blinding, brilliant light. I stare in disbelief. This thing is actually evolving. The light fades, and the serpent griffin has transformed into something entirely new. The feathered serpent dragon. The feathered serpent dragon spreads its enormous wings, circles once through the sky, and flies away, leaving me, one tiny little slime, completely shook, standing alone in the wind. Since Gorn's system vanished along with him, I only managed to receive a portion of his skills. I stare in the direction Gorn disappeared, hollow with loss. I miss the simple, carefree days more than anything. I gained incredible power today, and I feel nothing. All I want is to go back to being a simple little slime. I activate my exploration skill, and gather up the armor Gorn left behind. Pulling every piece together, I pull myself together. I will carry on his legacy. The church's plan to sacrifice the world will not succeed. I try putting on the helmet, and pack every piece of the armor tight with my cytoplasm. I have no real body, but I want to try piloting this armor and actually move around in it. The moment I take a step, the whole thing wobbles uncontrollably. I cannot keep my balance at all. Every time I steady the left side, the right falls apart. Every time I hold the top half, the bottom half goes rogue. I lose balance completely and do a full split, and accept defeat, storing the entire armor back into my system space. I leave the site behind, and make my way back to base camp, ready to sort through everything that happened tonight. I pull up the knowledge encyclopedia and world atlas skills. For the first time, I get a clear picture of how vast this world is, and how deep in the danger zone I currently am, stuck in the swamp forest. The royal capital has set up teleportation gates across the land, allowing fast travel between regions. The gates are managed entirely by the church. Adventurers must apply for access, and as a church toll, adventurers must hand over half of everything they earn just to use them. I figure if I can find a teleportation gate, I can reach the royal capital. A new spark of hope lights up inside me, but I know I have to get stronger first. Walking into the royal capital as I am now would just be walking into my own grave. My only trump cards right now are a set of damaged gear, and Nia's body, long gone cold. I wrestle with the thought of using decompose on Nia. I know there is no bringing her back. I cannot bear to watch her body rot away slowly. In the end, I choose decompose, to let her rest in peace. As I begin, I think I hear Nia's voice, soft in my ear, saying goodbye. I say my own farewell deep inside, and steel my resolve to bring down the church's evil reign, alone if I have to. Decompose completes. The system reports experience threshold reached. My level rises from 43 to 50, and I unlock a brand new skill. Parasitic dominance. The next morning, a frog sits quietly on a lily pad, drifting on the water's surface. I launch a rock at it instantly, then follow up with over a dozen more. The system confirms target defeated, experience gained. I quietly apologize to it. This frog just volunteered to be my test subject for my new parasitic dominance skill. I send a clone to infiltrate the frog's body, then activate parasitize. The system confirms parasitize successful. Swamp frog puppet acquired. Puppet count at maximum. Thrilled, I prepare to activate dominate and transfer my consciousness. I focus every bit of concentration I have and shift my awareness into the clone inside the frog. The transfer works. I have full control of the frog's body. Looking through the frog's eyes, the world feels surprisingly wide and open. I tap into its nervous system and inherit its muscle memory. Moving this body feels completely natural. I look back at my core body. Without my consciousness in it, it has shifted into auto mode. I realize leaving my core unattended is a serious risk. In real combat, I will need to keep it well hidden. But that is a problem for later. Right now, I am taking this frog body out for a spin. A flying insect drifts past, and I fire off tongue strike, snatching it right out of the air. It goes down the hatch. I have to say, this whole puppeteering experience is surprisingly fun. I bounce the frog forward, hopping along to find a better spot to keep testing. Soon I spot a little snail and lunge at it, but my consciousness snaps back against my will. The system reports, weak signal, connection forcibly severed. The frog collapses on the spot, and my awareness snaps back into my core body. Through that test, I figure out the effective range for puppet control is roughly 30 meters. I understand now. I cannot stray too far from my core while controlling a puppet, or the link will break. Not long after, the frog stands back up on its own, and starts hopping around without any input from me. It clicks. Puppets operate in two modes, active mode and auto mode. My core body acts as the signal hub. In active mode, go too far and the connection drops. But when the puppet stays close enough, it switches to auto mode and acts on the instincts it had when it was alive. The frog in auto mode is painfully clumsy. It cannot land a single hit on that snail. Auto mode is way too dumb for real use. I reluctantly recall the puppet. Then a bold idea strikes me. If I can defeat strong enemies, I can parasitize their corpses. I picture it, parasitizing the feathered serpent dragon, building a whole army of powerful puppets to take on the church. Fired up with confidence, I head deeper into the forest to hunt for suitable targets. On my way back, a water jet slams into me out of nowhere, draining 70 HP. I am equal parts startled and furious. I demand the attacker show itself. When I see it is a pufferfish, I grin. It just delivered itself right to me. My competitive side kicks in. Time to show this fish what a level 50 monster lord can really do. The pufferfish puffs itself up like crazy, getting ready to blast me with a powerful water cannon. It fires water jet after water jet, hammering away at my core. I dodge nimbly and fire back with cytoplasm blast. I wrap a rock in cytoplasm and launch it hard, landing a direct hit on the inflated pufferfish. I give it no chance to escape. I move into subdue and capture it completely. I activate morph net and sweep up every creature in the water nearby in one go. The haul is impressive. My mood lifts considerably. I successfully parasitize the pufferfish and add it to my collection as my second puppet. Soon after, I spot a crab lurking under a tree. I land right on its back and begin the infiltration. The crab thrashes wildly, trying to shake me off. I just laugh and send a clone slipping through the cracks in its shell. I fire off parasitize and dominate back to back, and take full command of the crab's body. Swamp crab puppet acquired. My squad just got a new addition. Not long after, I steer my swamp frog puppet into a beehive zone. I make the frog let out a big croak, then shoot out its tongue and snatch up a huge mouthful of ordinary bees. The tongue reels back with a whole string of bees dangling from it, and the frog swallows them in one gulp. Delicious, apparently. Two wasp mages start gathering honey, charging up honey bombs. I know the frog alone cannot handle this, so I trigger a consciousness switch immediately. I jump into the swamp crab puppet and command it to open fire with its water jet. The crab blasts out a powerful stream of water, clashing head-on with the incoming honey bombs, but the crab runs dry way too fast. Seeing their chance, the wasp mages summon fire bombs and drop them straight onto my puppets. The swamp frog and swamp crab puppets are cooked alive by the heat, completely out of commission. The two wasp mages exchange a glance, convinced the threat has been eliminated. Then one of them takes a water jet to the face and drops dead on the spot. I cheer from inside the pufferfish puppet. That sneak attack felt incredibly satisfying. The surviving wasp mage explodes with rage and starts gathering honey for a counterattack. I switch my consciousness back to my core right then and there, and I run. Puppets can be replaced. Losing a few is nothing to me. Some bees move in to cut off my escape route, but I swat them aside without breaking stride. My core body is my strongest form. The puppet drills were just practice runs for coordination. I stretch my cytoplasm into the hive and use exploration to track down the queen bee. I get her. Now I can parasitize her and build my very own bee army. I activate parasitize and turn the queen bee into a puppet. If I control the queen bee, the entire swarm might follow. The parasitization succeeds, but when I order the swarm to awaken, nothing happens. Not a single bee responds. It hits me all at once. When the queen dies, the swarm collapses with her. My plan to control the hive through the queen bee is a total failure. The queen bee puppet is useless. I redirect my cytoplasm toward the wasp mage instead, a far more practical target. I successfully parasitize it and add the wasp mage to my roster as a powerful new puppet. Night falls. I gather my squad at the temporary base for a proper rundown. I name the frog puppet Little Frog. It lets out a croak in response. I name the crab puppet Little Crab. It clicks its claws in reply. I name the pufferfish puppet Little Puff. It lets out a bubbly gurgle. Then I notice the wasp mage puppet is nowhere to be seen. I clearly put Bee Master out with the others, but now it has vanished. I look closer and find Bee Master inside Little Frog's mouth. I smack Little Frog hard and lay down squad rule number 1. Absolutely no eating each other, and force Little Frog to spit Bee Master back out. I inspect Bee Master carefully. No damage. I breathe a sigh of relief.